actually clean compared to the way it really looked. We had a lot of shelving in there. See, we needed new shelving, that would make it all better.
More.
Yeah. So we had a lot of different, what they call buildings in the financial system, whether it be sewer, water department, building maintenance, vehicle maintenance, fire, just the different departments throughout had different buildings in there. And it was a train wreck. I mean, they did as best they could to keep the place presentable, but as far as being in order and being able to tell us exactly what's on the shelf, what bin location, those things, they've never heard of bin locations. So,
How could you even have one item accurate?
36%, I mean, that's maybe that one, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, but it got better, it got better.
It's 2 employees, right? 2 employees in the warehouse?
Yeah.
That's how.
And it probably was a system that they had no involvement in, which I see a lot of the
Correct.
time. The end users have no involvement in implementation or, even trying to figure out how it's gonna work. And so they're challenged with upkeeping a system that they did not help develop, that may not even work for them. I see it all the time, every day.
You're right, you hit the nail on the head. They had no involvement with it, they were not trained in it. They got more training after we started peeling back this onion than they ever had, because we needed to get things right, or improve, I should say. 5% was an improvement of 36. But you're right, exactly right. So all of these things that they had in the shop, and that's when we figured out, look, we need some help, so we did some benchmarking. We needed some help. I'd actually called, my background also is in HVAC, so I'd call some of the supply houses to see what their accuracy was, how they go about doing what they do. Most supply houses that do inventory, if they're below 98, they're not happy. And they reconcile every day. They do all this stuff. So that was an eye-opener for us. So we took a road trip to Granger, right up the street, and it was very enlightening what they told us and what they showed us, how we could improve our operations just by observing what they do. And
Did you take the 2 workers with you?
we did.
Excellent.
Yes, I mean, this is theirs to own. This is theirs. So
where you get by it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the worst things you can do is ask all these questions. You go in someone's area, you disrupt it, not on purpose, but because that's the way the process works when you're trying to make improvements. You keep them involved the whole way. Yeah, they went, and their eyes were opened. Yeah, as you know, bin locations do not have to remain in the same physical spot. Right, something I didn't know. Of course, I'm not into inventory, but I learned that. And I thought, well, this is cool. So our folks do that now. It's not just paper towels are not right here all the time. Next week, it could be a motor for a cooling tower, or it could be water meters for a subdivision or something. I mean, so they learned that, and that it was good for them to take the trip. But we needed their help in order to make this project work. So one of the worst things you can do is just tell folks, hey, this is the way it is, and this is what you're going to do. And you're not even their boss. You're just trying to help. So you have to get buy-in. So when we went to Granger, one of the things that impressed all of us the most is they have an area called the gold zone. The gold zone is stuff that's high moving. I mean, it's not going to stay long at all. We actually adopted that. We figured Granger's kind of successful, wouldn't y'all think?
They move a lot of inventory.
They move a lot of inventory. If you order it today, you'll have it in the morning by 10 o'clock. That's impressive. So we did adopt this. As a matter of fact, our warehouse is laid out not exactly like this, but similar, very similar. And items that move a lot during the week, they actually have it in, they don't call it the gold zone area, but they have an area where they stage that. So it's picked up and reconciled. That is the end of my slideshow. that slide, as you probably saw, is an old dated slide, but I wanted to use that as an example of how we use lean tools, Lean Six Sigma tools in government. We've had other projects that we've done. We've actually improved our response time with public safety, whether it's police officers responding, fire responding. We're in the ambulance business now, their response time. So we've made some movements by using Lean Six Sigma tools, and that led us into the performance excellence arena. Got to thank Dr. Fisher again for that. Glad he's here. I get to call his name a lot. But by using those tools, it actually opened our minds, because a lot of times when you see a government employee or you think of a government employee, y'all can be honest. Tell me, what do you think about? What's the stigma that comes with a government employee? Politics. What's some others? Waste. Lazy. Standing around. Not interested. I mean, you know, those. Sometimes it can be reality. But it opened our minds to the way we look at things and the way we do business. And it's really improved the way that we maximize our dollars. Yes, sir.
I expected your last slide to show your after project numbers.
Yeah.
I was getting to that.
Okay.
I should have had it here. This is the old slide. Our accuracy rate now is 97%.
Yeah.
And if I should have went to the warehouse and took pictures, we actually handed this off to them like a year and a half after we finished up the project. We got it. They got it under control. It stayed in control. And we've also been able to reduce our inventory by way of technology. For instance, light bulbs. You know, now you don't need fluorescence or incandescence and all these because of LEDs. So as we do capital improvement projects, infrastructure replacements, maintenance, some of these things we're able to make inventory obsolete. So that's helped them out too. But our action rate now is 97%. And they reconcile every day. They do inventory on a quarterly basis.
So have y'all implemented things like FIFO? Did y'all do that? Or what made it come together? That's what made it come together, and then did you all train? Do you have a formal training program now? I'm just going about. Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
We do not have a formal training program per se, but we do utilize PATs because we identify the core things that happen in the warehouse as far as their daily functions. So we do have PATs in place so that when we have a new employee come in that goes to the warehouse, which typically with warehousing, you know, folks stay around for a while. But we do have that in place. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Do y'all have SOPs now? Do you have?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
So I'm curious to know, being that Lean Six Sigma helped with this project, did you empower the warehouse workers with some form of Lean Six Sigma training to identify additional areas of improvements and to help with that?
Y'all a tough crowd, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm just kidding. This is great. We have had Dr. Fisher. You might help me out with this. I forget how many people we sent through yellow belt training.
About 60.
Yeah, but there at one time we were on a yellow belt rotation with folks coming in, and then they would get trained. At least they would know the lingo and the.
And with the PACS system, that stands for Process Activated Training System.
Oh,
And what
sorry,
they've done, they've taken their subject matter experts and they turn them into behavior and training scripts. So they're SOPs that they use in that area, and they have a database and they're scripted out. So if they're sick or someone needs to come into the area, they can pick up those SOPs and train and follow the standards.
Thank you.
So he's standardizing it. It falls right in with Six Sigma.
Right.
Okay.
Even with the software side that they use, even on the computer side, we have paths for that also.
You say 97%, is that inventory accuracy or is that line fulfillment per order?
Inventory accuracy.
Inventory accuracy, okay. You know what your fulfillment rate is?
I do not. And the reason I don't is because we handed this off to
Oh, yeah, you're not
about
doing that.
18 months after we got it under control.
But if you're that high, you're probably pretty good.
The reason I know that is because that accuracy rate is in our ClearPoint software. I think it's available on the web. Not sure. It may not be. That's actually operational. Our strategic stuff is online in ClearPoint. But yeah, I know the director over there, so she makes sure that it stays, the wheels stay on the bus.
Did the time to, the 25 days time frame, did that decrease, I would assume?
Significantly.
That's what was suffering
Yeah.
from.
But here was another opportunity for improvement with this group. Purchasing was over the warehouse. So purchasing cuts the PO number. So it was a learning curve for them too.
So they were watching this the whole time.
So where does audit come into this? Did y'all ever have audit?
The only audits that we have is on the financial side, and I don't know how the auditors do what they do. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if they look for percent variances or whatever, but that's the only audits that happen. We don't have someone come in and do inventory audit.
But you did say quarterly, they do it physical inventory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So most likely.
They-
Oh, they do. And how long was the project run?
18 months total.
Oh, really?
It was brutal.
Just looking at this, certain things that needed to be done and certain rules put in, but any one of them would have then frozen the system up because it would have blocked, because nothing else was in.
Yeah. We had a really good champion. When it all played out, we had a really good champion that said, whatever it takes to get this done, let's get it done here, you know, improve accuracy.
Luckily, that person was the one that wavered.
Right. Yeah.
And
So
it
it's
turned
a-
out accuracy was the least of your problems.
Right. That was the symptom.
So do you feel like, based on the municipality, you benchmark, that process or that, what it is that you did? And not just with the warehouse, but in terms of the services that you guys offered and how they improved?
When you say benchmark, you're talking about willing to share?
Willing to share?
We are willing to share. As a matter of fact, I actually benchmark my operations with Austin, Texas, because what they do and what I do in my department, very similar. And so I'm actually able to benchmark against them. Other departments benchmark against, whether it's another municipality, usually it's not one around here. Well, I'm just saying, it's not, because let's go back to this, this perception of government workers. Okay, it's a government job and all this other stuff. You have to look at cities that do it differently, and again, here I go, I'm gonna throw him on the bus again. Dr. Fisher told us to look at businesses that do the same things that we do, because we're in competition with businesses. And folks can come in at any moment in government and outsource anything.
Granger was ready.
Man, yeah, oh, we can run it for you. It's like, wait a minute.
We'll take that problem right off your hands.
Exactly. So we look at other governments, if we can, where we can, and businesses.
You also brought in Irving, Texas,
We did.
that won the National Baldrige Award for being a showcase city. And they worked with a person, head of that for Irving, Texas, that came and worked with you all.
Yeah, she was the
And
HR
they
director.
benchmarked the group in Florida. They do benchmarking and look at best practices, both outside of city government and, but two of the best cities in the country have been in there
Right.
and benchmarked you all.
Yeah. But it's not a lot of cities or a lot of governments or government agencies that look at process improvement. They don't. We've always done it that way. And I'll just let the big secret out. as I learned years ago, government has an endless source of revenue. What's it called? Taxes. But that is the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah.
That is the wrong way to look at it. You want to maximize, you want to maximize that revenue. That's what you want to do. So, we have
So
a
can
different
you
approach on it.
tell what project you're working, like what lanes of the project you're working on now, like, or is it?
Travel request. A simple thing as travel request. That's the newest project we have going. And I'm thankful I'm not part of that. I've got too much going. But, yeah, it's, our travel request is a practice that's still brought in from the 80s. All the paper, the per diem is for here. I've got somebody going to California. Just saying. So, I mean, that is, as a matter of fact, I actually talked to Assistant City Administrator this morning, so they're working on that and trying to make some improvements there.
So can, what prompted this project, what initially prompted this project? Because like you said,
Great question.
you had a tax, you don't really worry about profit, you know. So what prompted you all to,
I give a lot of credit to the City Administrator, Patrick Lofton. He's been there for 30 years. He just celebrated 30 years back in April. And his way of looking at things is not traditional. He's all about innovation. He's all about what's next, what's good for the community, what's good. So to answer your question directly, we were trying to get our black belt. That's what prompted this project. We were trying to find something within the city of Germantown that we could do to get our black belt. So we wound up using DeMadV. And then it eventually went over to DeMag, got it under control. You know, water meter, you mentioned that. MLGW, for those that live in there, they went around and changed things out and made it the smart meters. There's pros and cons on those, but actually I like the concept of it. It's innovation. It's accurate. At least mine has proven to be accurate. I don't know when we'll go to smart meters in Germantown. I don't know. But our turnover rate with water meters is excessive. It's like every other week we're hiring for a water meter. Anyway, reader, I should say, yeah. Yeah, I have no more. What's that?
Too many dogs.
Yeah, right. So it's a lot of walking. You know, they tell them that on the front end, but, oh well. Road.